morning. Heidi Foy here with Bullfrog Creatives, and you are joining us live for the countdown to the College National Finals Rodeo. We have been highlighting each of the regions and talking about our qualifiers, who's going to make it as a team, who's making it from an individual standpoint, and kind of getting the scoop from our faculty directors on how their season went and how their region went. Today, we're going to be highlighting the Great Plains region. Mr. Ron Scolvey has joined us. But before we get started with that, I want to give a shout out to our partner this year, Visit Casper, who is the local convention visitors bureau here in Casper. We'll be highlighting some places to go while you're here. If you're planning on making a trip, places to go. If you're not planning on making a trip, maybe, just maybe, you'll see something that triggers and you'll get those rooms booked and get that trip planned. So we would love to have you in Casper. Oh, what are we at? Countdown to check-in day is right at 18 days. We're 18 days out. And you'll be so proud. I actually looked and counted. So we're right at 18 days. This year you can expect all of the same. I don't know if I would call it good content, but it is content. The CNFR shenanigans are back, and we'll be doing our parking lot ambush. We will be bringing you the Visit Casper CNFR morning show live from Lou Talbert's in downtown Casper this year. So we have some new things coming up, and we're really excited about those partnerships. We did also just announce yesterday our collaboration with Smarty Rodeo and Western Sports Foundation and Crave Coaching and Consulting. We are going to be bringing you the Coach's Edge Summit. So stay tuned for more information about that coming out. Super excited for that partnership and excited about the value that we can bring for you college rodeo coaches. So without further ado, let's get to the good stuff. Mr. Ron, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So talk to me. We've had several days of weather, lots of rain. I wouldn't say as much moisture as we had last year about this time, but how's the weather where you're at?
Well, we were starting to dry up rather towards the end of school. If we got a rain, it was 2 days and 3 inches at a time. So we had 2-3 inch rains as we're trying to finish everything up, and it was starting to dry up from that, getting some pens cleaned up in the last 2 days. Now we've got 2 more inches. So
oh my goodness,
good for the fall, or the summer, I should say.
Yeah, it's one of those love-hate relationships where you love the moisture because you know you're going to need it later, and you hate the mud and the mess that it brings right now.
Well, we always say it'd be better to get rain in the spring than snow in the winter. And 2 years ago, we got a lot of snow and then the rain didn't come. So this year we didn't get a lot of snow and the rain's coming. So we'll take that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think last year was a strange year for us because we got dumped on, I felt like forever. Like it was the longest winter in the history of winters. And then we also got rain. So I'm feeling the rain way more than the snow. So, well, Ron, before we get started in the standings or the results for the Great Plains region, I would love for you to talk to us about where you're coaching and how you got into the position for the faculty director.
So, coaching from Brookings, South Dakota State. Tate Eck was the faculty director before me, and he ran for the commissioner position here a few years ago and could not be director anymore.
Gotcha.
And I reluctantly stepped in the position, but 2.5 years later now, I kind of know what's coming next and what to get ready for and enjoy it with on top of a team of 45. But it's there's always something to do, and yeah, it's a great region, and we've got about 15 to 16 schools depending on the year, and coaches are great, and right around 280 to 300 contestants depending on the year and the weekend, but that's kind of the average of what we got in the region here. So yeah, about average.
Talk to me about, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, so if you don't know this answer, that's okay. What is the ratio between junior colleges and universities in the Great Plains region?
Oh, that's a great one. It's got to be close to 50-50.
Maybe I can.
Yeah, I mean, NDSU, DSU, Spearfish, SDSU,
Yeah. So I'll just scroll through them, which I think is a great idea. Bismarck
Yeah.
State College, which Bismarck actually will be new this fall.
This fall, right? Yeah,
So
they had
Bismarck State
one.
College will
I think
join
they had
Black
one
Hills
barrel
State
racing going this year.
University. I'm sorry, what?
Bismarck had one barrel racer going in the spring, and it looks like they've got quite a few coming in this fall. So
Perfect. Black Hills State University, Buena Vista University, they're in Storm Lake. Dickinson State, Graceland University, Iowa Central Community College, Iowa State University, Lake Area Technical College, Mid Plains Community College. Okay. How do you say that head coach's name?
Oh, for Mid Plains?
Yeah.
Akai.
Oh, well, that was way easier than what I had built it up in my head. Mitchell Tech College is there, Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Southeast Community College, University of Wisconsin River Falls, University of Nebraska Lincoln. And I have heard some rumors that University of Nebraska Lincoln is kind of in is building back pretty strong. I had the opportunity to speak with Jake Clark during the college rodeo here, which of course he's not biased at all.
Yeah, right.
With that being his nephew, but yeah, what some really, really great opportunities for student athletes in the Great Plains region, I think, with those technical colleges and some great universities to pick from.
Yeah, I guess I never looked at it, but we might be just a little stronger on the 4 years. But yeah, I mean, they're all competitive, so that's nice.
Well, and I think it's funny that you mentioned that, because I think those of us that are in the college rodeo world, we get fairly used to that's just another rodeo program. And what's great for, maybe, I know we have a lot of kind of newer college rodeo fans on this platform, but they come in and look at, oh, junior colleges have to compete against college, universities and 4-year colleges. And so what we think is kind of old hat can be very interesting to a new college rodeo fan. So I always like to talk about that difference in particular.
Right. Yeah. And it's a double-edged sword. Seems like quite a few of the junior colleges probably don't have the full athletic lineup that the 4 years do, and supports they're probably a little more for them. I don't know how many clubs we have on campus at SDSU too. So
yeah.
There's just a lot more involvement to we're kind of on our own here, not in athletics, and other 4 years might be in athletics, but just depends on the size of the school and how many other sports are out there, how much sport you get. So
yeah, for sure. So talk to me about what are your rodeos? I guess, what's the schedule look like in a typical year in the Great Plains?
Well, we've been pretty lucky. North Platte's had a double in the fall, so we had 5 trips in the fall last fall with 6 rodeos, and then 4 in the spring. Because our springs have been wacky here in the last few years, and not this year, but the last 3 before that was April snowstorms and this and that, whatever. So as many we can get in the fall, the better, because it's kind of been going forward, not backing up for winter. But yeah, 6 in the fall, 4 in the spring. With a lot of interest in another school wanting to have a 10th rodeo, so we could have 10 single rodeos, which is a lot of miles, but a good problem to have. Other schools want to showcase theirs. So
yeah, for sure. And I think I guess, in my opinion, what it does for those rodeo programs to each have an opportunity to put on their own rodeo is it provides them kind of a marketing opportunity to highlight their program in the community. So you're right, it does add some miles as far as the student athletes having to, not necessarily one more weekend, but one more place to travel to. So, but I can see the benefit for each program really wanting to highlight their program like that.
Right. And it's good for the members too, to be able to be on the production side and the setup, and not just that weekend. It's months before that, and the sponsorships and all the organization and everything like that. So yeah, I know that's great. So
well, let's take a look at some standings here. Let's see. I try to make it so I can see both screens at once, and it doesn't always work. All right. If you would, Ron, just kind of take off and talk to us about who we have representing the Great Plains region for our men's team.
Men's team was fairly wild the last two rodeos. Last 2 or 3 rodeos, actually, because it was a tight race on the top 3. And the Mid-Plains came out with the win there. Black Hill State was second, but there was quite a few individual races and the all-arounds and everything like that popped up right there towards the end. We ended up in 4th, South Dakota State. There's 2 or 3 key players on each team that really switched around the top 3 there towards the end.
Well, and I could see the all around, we've talked about this, I think every coach that I've talked to, but I could see the all around really coming into play, especially in that last rodeo, because of that minimum 200 point, in order for those points to count towards all around, you have to have a full 200 points. And so I could see where that would change. It's something that's really interesting is it's really close. I mean, I could see any of those top 4 could have easily been the top 2 teams.
Right. Yeah.
Those points are really close.
Yeah. Maybe not us on 4th there. We just had a outstanding last rodeo, but that was the last one of the year. We could have done that a couple more times throughout the year.
Yeah.
But, we'll have some momentum coming into fall, hopefully. So.
Yeah. Perfect. How about our women's? Or how about our women's qualifiers?
See, that's old right there, and I don't know why they didn't update that.
Let's see. Let's look.
I was looking at the other day too.
April 29th. So I guess if this is not correct, tell us who we have got coming.
Right. Yeah. Because I was kind of looking through our last ones there. Black Hill State did obviously win it because nobody caught them on the last 2 rodeos.
Yeah, they kind of had a runaway there.
Yeah. But by 16.5 points, SDSU did jump into 2nd place for the women's team. And
good for you guys.
We had people at home on computers doing stuff throughout the rodeo, sending me stuff, sending my wife stuff, sending our Dallas boss, our secretary, and confirming that everybody came out with 16.5 points to move ahead of Dickinson State there towards the last. And that was kind of a catch up. We've been just a few hundred points behind them for probably 2 or 3 rodeos and could never get it. And the last rodeo at Dickinson finally pushed us through. So,
well, good for you guys. All right, let's talk about some men's all around.
Yes. So men's all around was what I was talking about. Let's see. Is he even? Yeah. No. So yeah, the 2nd place there, Dion Augustrio from Hawaii. What did he have? 400 or almost a 400 point rodeo at Lincoln. So
wow,
he bumped ahead of Austin there for that.
So this is not correct either.
No, none of this is updated. So I forgot to tell Sarah that the other day, but
whoops.
Yep. Yeah. But we've got him here. So yeah, it'd be Austin did end up 2nd. Dion was 1st, but this freshman from Mid-Plains there rides bulls, barebacks, team ropes, and bulldogs.
Oh my goodness!
He runs from one end to the other to the arena to the other, just smile on his face, and he's a blast to watch. So
having fun the whole way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we don't. I think as I was an all around when I was competing, and I don't think we really give enough credit to those contestants that are doing multiple events because it can be hard. The mental game can be hard. And if it's something that you've been doing since high school rodeo or since junior rodeo, then it probably never even crosses your mind because that's just what you've always done. But it is important to point out, I think, for those college rodeo fans that if you're doing more than one event and something goes awry in your first event and you still have 2 or 3 more events to compete in, you've got to really be able to make that mental switch and keep moving forward and keep pushing forward. Even if you do well, you still have to be able to make that mental switch to your next event. So I give our all around a lot of kudos in that regard.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword there too with it's more entry fees and horses and this and that
Absolutely.
too. But if you've got a main event and that's all you're focusing on, but you've got a second one, sometimes it just kind of takes the pressure off and do something else instead of just focusing on one. And there's coaches out there that make their teams, enter multiple events, won't accept people that don't, do
Yeah.
multiple events. I'm not that way, but
Yeah.
once they figure out, hey, I'm going to try this for a while, then all of a sudden it's fun again. They're not just focused on one or two or whatever. And scholarships are definitely, affected by that, and points and teams. And
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I can see that. Well, I'm going to scroll down just so we can see the names and where these kids are going to school. So you can just give us your standings, your results.
Well, and this is what we were talking about before. The 200 points there, for multiple events or 2 events at least for the all around. And the one that's not even on here is Haven Jones. She just needed a few more points, and I can't remember which event it was even, but Dallas Voss, our secretary, was going through anybody before the rodeo started that only needed this, this, and this, so they weren't missed. And Haven Jones ended up winning the all around with 1,273 points, and she wasn't even in the top 5 because she just needed those few points.
Those few extra points.
Yep. And Cache McGee did end up second. So
okay. Perfect. I'm sure we're going to see those names again. How about some saddle bronc riding? Now we'll go to the individual qualifiers.
Yeah, let's see. Saddle bronc riding, nothing changed there for 1, 2, and 3.
That number 1 position had a little bit of a lead.
Right. Yep. Yeah. No. And they stayed the same, so they'll be fun to kind of watch at CNFR too. We got some sticky saddle bronc riders this year. So
Cash Owens and Cody Owens.
Yes.
Twins? Brothers.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They are twins?
I don't believe they're twins. No.
Okay.
I should know that,
but perfect. All right, bareback riding.
Drew, 1, 2, and 3 stayed the same there as well. And there's Dion in third again. Yeah, he'd run from one end to bareback riding from bulldogging, and so.
Well, and that's a really good example there again of the 200 point minimum in the all around. He barely broke over that 200 points, and that 322 has helped him up there. Right. I will point out there's a pretty big difference between the first and second and third position for points earning. So those first 2 guys kind of rallied and battled it out through the year.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and stayed healthy. When you only got a few bareback riders in the region, just staying healthy is the biggest deal. And some of those there towards the bottom probably, had some injuries or whatnot and couldn't go this spring. So.
Dang it. All right. Bull riding.
Lathan walked away with it. He ended up first. Kobe Jacobson was hurt all spring. But he, no, not Kobe, Sage Vance. I'm sorry. Okay. Sage ended up tying for 4th. So he will get to go, and hopefully he'll be able to ride there. But yeah, Dion moved up there into 3rd place. So we had a split between 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. How about some tie down roping?
Tie down roping. That was that was a fun race towards the end too. My Rafe Wenches, before the rodeo started, wasn't sure if he'd hold on to that 3rd spot, and he ended up being within let's see. Oh, there's the other page. Yeah, within 10 points of winning it all. So,
Oh, goodness.
yeah. So we had Luke Mavity ended up winning it.
Okay.
612, Rafe 602, and Jory Boot was third from Dickinson at 515. So, yeah, just the top three kind of moved around a little bit there.
Moved around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that just kind of speaks to what one weekend will do in those standings.
One weekend, and in springtime, you got fresh calves. You don't have the calves that have been roped a few times, and they prepare them as much as they can. But we were really lucky this spring. We had some pretty good calves, but it still changed things in a few rodeos. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that before. When you're roping in the fall, you're probably roping calves that have been roped most of the season already. So they may or may not run as hard. They're probably not going to kick as hard. And then you come around in the spring where you're getting fresh calves. They don't really know the game just yet.
The college rodeo is tough for stock, in our area anyway. I mean, I'm sure down south I go year round a little more than we do, but yeah, we ran into quite a few fresh team roping steers and bull hogging steers this spring, and same for everybody. But when you only got 10 rodeos, you can't just keep entering until you draw some better stock. But yeah.
All right, let's scroll down. Steer wrestling.
We stayed the same there, other than fourth place, which is our region director, Dalton Conkey, moved up to fourth.
Okay.
But Austin, Rex, and Caden all held their positions there.
Well, and I'd just like to point out, I mean, aside from that first position with Austin at 942 points, which I don't know if these numbers are right, but the points spread is pretty close. So there's a pretty big group of competitive steer wrestlers coming out of the Great Plains region right now.
There is, yeah. And quite a few of these, the top 10 there, are returning next year. So,
great.
Yeah. And I'm not sure about Austin yet. He might have one more year. I don't know, but it's hard to keep up with the Masters and the COVID years. And
yeah.
But
yeah, we still do have a little bit of that lingering, huh? What are we, 4 years out, I guess? So
right.
There potentially could be some freshmen that would have that 5th year.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about some team ropers.
Team roping heading. The first two stayed the same. So Trey and Lan from our team there held on to win first and second there. Jory Boot moved up to third.
Okay.
432 points from what this was. So
he had a
good Lincoln rodeo. So
all right, let's take a look at their healers. We're gonna see a little change here.
Riley Clayton and Jackson stayed the same on my page.
Okay.
So
perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Now what happened to my screen here? There we go.
Oh, there we go. So barrel racing. How are we looking at the barrel racing? Sierra held on to win the barrel racing. My Arabella moved up to second with 736 points. She had the last 2 good rodeos last 2. And then Rachel Workman there ended up third. So she held on third spot. So.
And pretty good. I mean, there's I would say after those first 3 positions, the points have a pretty good spread, but those first 3 girls look like they kind of just took turns throughout the season.
They did, and luckily in the fall, we didn't have a lot of I guess we had 2 rodeos where the ground got some rain on it outside and everything like that. The last 4 this spring were all inside. So pretty much, other than the performances, are packed down a little bit more than slacks, but pretty much the same ground to run on for the last 4 anyway. So that's kind of nice.
Good. That really makes it a horse race rather than a draw.
It does. Yes. Yeah.
All right. How about some breakaway ropers?
breakaway roping was absolutely nuts.
Man,
Because
that's tight.
it was, yeah. I forget if it was down to the 15th spot before we went into. Well, this is actually it here. So, yeah, 142 and 180 would have got him into the top three there. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so down to 15th, obviously, but Jay Nelson did hold off to win it. Riley Donnelly, she went from fourth to second, and Whitley Jennings went from fifth to third. So there's your three going in the breakaway there.
Well, and truly just looking at this point spread before the update, man, I mean, it really could have been anybody's game coming in. I mean, anybody in at least the top 4 or 5 really could have, they could have come in and 180 the rodeo and it would have changed the whole board.
Right. Yeah. And I think that just like, how many did we have in the breakaway open that got points? We had 40 girls out of 80 some that got points this year. So that tells you how many calves each contractor has to have, and
Yep.
absolutely no way to have every pen with 80, 30, 40 calves just perfect everywhere. So
Yeah.
that comes into play after 10 rodeos too. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely an interesting race down towards the end.
Yeah, a good race. It makes it good for, I mean, maybe you coaches are a little stressed out till the end, but it makes it good for all of our rodeo fans that are watching the season.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's fun to keep up with.
All right, let's wrap it up with some goat tying, Ron. How about our goat tires?
What did we have here? Cachet ended up, winning it. Opal moved up to second, and Haven Jones was down to third. So they just switched a couple spots there.
Switch
The
places a
top
little
three
bit.
kind of stayed the same there. So.
And I'm going to keep pointing it out after those first 2 positions. I mean, even after that first position, the point spread is really not that much. I mean, down to the 6th, 7th position, still could have been some qualifiers come up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the fall and spring, we had some excellent goats. So there wasn't really anything in there that you didn't want to draw or maybe move a little bit more than a couple of the others. But if that's your only complaint, not anything that gets up every time or meets you up the rope, anything like that. Goat tying directors did a fantastic job last fall and the spring on getting something that everybody could win on. So.
Well, and I think one of the things that we talk about too, you did mention, and I want to point this out, but you mentioned that y'all have in the Great Plains region, you guys have some outdoor rodeos, but you also have some indoor rodeos. And so I think those indoor rodeos are really good preparation for the CNFR. If those ladies, the team ropers are a little more used to kind of a smaller indoor pin. The barrel racers can be used to a little, a more of a smaller pin, but also the goat tying. So I think Great Plains region, I'm always surprised because it was normal for me in the Big Sky region to have indoor rodeos for the same reason that you guys do. And so it's always interesting to talk to some other regions, like even Grand Canyon region. If they're indoor, it's kind of a big open pin and it's not that small setup. So right. I feel like we are a little bit luckier because we can acclimate from the big pin to the small pin fairly easily because we've been doing it already. So can you speak to us a little bit about that? I mean, what does the setup in some of your small pins, how does that compare to what they're going to see at the CNFR?
Yeah, and I think it's the arena sizes are going to be pretty comparable. But the crowds this spring were amazing.
Oh, really?
Iowa State down there gets funding from their school to help put on the school. So the students get to come in and everything like that. So they actually the last 2 years have been turning people away for fire code. So when you talk about, crowds and the energy and everything like that, I went from Iowa State turning people away to our rodeo, which is actually managed by the same company as what the Ford Wyoming Center there.
Oh, okay.
Just a little smaller venue, but we still had between 3,500 and 4,000 people there in 3 performances. So, um,
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about that, because one of the things that we talk about that is different at the CNFR is the energy in the building. And if the contestants and student athletes that are coming out of the Great Plains region have a little bit of experience with that already, then maybe that can be taken out of the equation as far as what can play into the nerves and what can play into, how their animals act, how the horses act. So yeah, y'all might have a little bit of an advantage there.
yeah, and I even carry it down into our practices. The holding barn that we used to do it has speakers on top, and we didn't do it as much this year, but every once in a while I'll come in and from my office and people be riding around, the music be blaring, and oh, we'll turn it down, coach. I'm like, no, your horses kind of need to get used to this. That's what I grew up on is loud music at some practices that I went to, and yeah, it was distracting, but that's what you need. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a really good kind of training tool also, because there's so many things that you don't have control over. And that's definitely one of them. You don't get to pick your walk-up song when you're backing in the box. So
no. Putting banners in the arena at practice and music and whatnot, that's about as much as you can do, other than, putting people in there to cheer and whatnot too. But every little bit helps, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Ron, is there anything else? I mean, anyone else that we need to kind of keep an eye on that you feel like could make a jump here for a national championship for the CNFR? I mean, who else should we be watching?
Boy, region wise in each event, we've got a few that are going to be there for second, third, and fourth time. So the jitters won't be there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Great Plains region somehow has pulled out, quite a few short go winter qualifiers each year.
Yeah.
So being the average size region is not that we're not competitive or the smallest or largest, this or that, but
Yeah.
when they get there, yeah, we've always got somebody in contention there, and then after that, it's up to the draws, the rough stock and time
Right.
and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's always fun, and just got a great region of coaches and contestants, and it's going well. So.
Well, perfect. We are on behalf of the city of Casper and Visit Casper, we're super excited to have you guys back for the 25th year, which is so hard to believe that it's been 25 years here in Casper. But we love having the rodeo here. From a contestant standpoint, I feel like it's a really good setup, but I might be biased. So we're excited to have you. I want to be respectful of your time. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will be back on Friday, and we will have a conversation with the Northwest region and see who they've got representing them at the CNFR. Ron, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great week.
Yeah, see you in a couple weeks, Heidi.
Yes, sir. Drive careful.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, the countdown to the CNFR is brought to you by Visit Casper. We're excited to partner with them this year. Stay tuned for in the next few weeks. We're going to be highlighting some things that, well, probably a lot of places to eat, because I do like to eat. Some BFC must-sees while you are in town, or if you're going to be planning your trip to Casper soon. Some things that we think that you should check out while you're here. Some of our local favorites, favorite places to go, places to eat, and I don't know. If you have any requests or you're looking for something, please reach out. Again, want to give a shout out to Visit Casper for the partnership. And just a reminder, we will be coming at you live during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday mornings from downtown Casper at Lou Talbert's. We're going to do the CNFR morning show down there. We'll have some autograph signing sessions set up, so you guys aren't going to want to miss that. Stay tuned for all the CNFR shenanigans. You guys have a great Wednesday, and we will be back with the Northwest region on Friday morning. See you guys.